A postponed game on Sunday meant Twins fans had 24 more hours to stew over bad umpiring, bad pitching, and overall bad vibes. Now the Dodgers are coming to town. We'll talk about all that and much more. This is Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, and welcome back to Locked On Twins. I'm your host, Brandon Warren, and you can unfollow me on Twitter at Brandon_WARNE. And while you're unfollowing me, make sure to shoot on over to at Answer Dave Brown. Click that follow button. Let's get him to the 1K, which is oddly enough about as far as I can run in any one given.
I was gonna say I don't want to do any running.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, how are you?
Hi, Brandon. Oh, I'm doing great. No game today though. It's always a bummer.
Yeah, and so we had the Locked On Twins postcast. Make sure you check that out on Locked On Minnesota. But CJ Baumgartner and I held down the fort and covered a lot of ground in a pretty brutal game as the Twins fall 3-1, fall to 3-4 on the season. Sunday postponed due to weather. It's chilly and rainy here, so extra day between games. Not like they haven't had plenty of time off to this point already, but they'll make that one up as part of a split. I don't know if it's a split doubleheader or if it's back-to-back on August 9th, but it's a game that Royce Lewis will get to play in. So pushing it back there, not so bad.
Somebody said that it will be a split doubleheader, according to what I saw on Twitter.
Okay.
Somebody said Twins are more likely to win this game in August than they are today anyway. So I found that kind of a prescient comment inappropriate.
Yeah, not probably not wrong if we really are to consider how this team has played so far. By the way, though, thanks for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, hi, we're waving at you, or at least I am.
No pictures.
But we love to have you here. And of course, as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, we're your team every day. Love to hear from you in the comments section. We did a live postcast and we had some comments during the show. So who knows? Maybe those will be a thing when the Twins start playing night ball games. Who knows? Or we'll do the morning after as our recap. We haven't really discussed that yet, but we'll see how that goes. This episode brought to you by PrizePicks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase LockedOnMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Dave, Twins, as I said, lost 3-1. Brendan Miller is a war criminal for how he called that game behind the plate on Saturday. Did you catch the umpire scorecard, umpire audit after the fact? Because it was pretty brutal.
I caught it. I couldn't believe it. I don't know if there's an index of most runs allowed by an umpire, but that's got to be up there. It was 2.1. It's like 2.25 or something. It's like all of Cleveland's offense was Brendan Miller's. I think it's Owen Miller's brother or something. He's not even on the Guardians anymore, but it was all pro Cleveland. And I know we're trying to be pro Cleveland because sometimes people give it a hard time as a city, but that was ridiculous. I didn't agree with that. I mean, that didn't really help the Twins score any runs either, but yeah, it was that was not a good ball and strike business.
Yeah, especially the Matt Wallner plate appearance that he got rung up on a pitch down and in, and there was some stuff going on before the home run that basically gave the Guardians their offense for the day. All told, though, I mean, I think the thing I would want to see is percentage of runs in the final score difference versus percentage of runs the umpire is accounted for, because I mean, to be 100% of that, that's not a good look for MLB UA.
Well, the Twins are still kind of middle of the road in offense. Cleveland leads or almost leads the American League in runs scored. So 2 things. One, I think the Twins offense will be better because I don't know how much worse it could get. And two, the Guardians are not going to lead the league in runs scored. I'm telling you right now, that's not a good offense, and that stuff's going to even out. So I hope they enjoy their runs because they're not going to get them for much longer.
Twins go 0 for 23 with runners in scoring position in the series. 0 for 12 in game 1, 0 for 11 in game 2. And after the Alex Kirilloff triple in the first, which for whatever reason, Alex Kirilloff triple is becoming a repeating theme, they were 0 for 26 with 6 walks and 13 strikeouts. So yes, half of their outs coming via the strikeout before the Carlos Correa up the box single in the 9th. Struck out 14 times in the game. And a few things there. The Twins, before the Guardians series, were something like 20th in strikeout rate by K percentage offensively. And in 2 games, it vaulted them up at or around top 3, top 4, top 5. People have really honed in on it's too many strikeouts. For me, it's more along the lines of this is just the volatility of early season statistics, that your entire season narrative can be turned on its head between they're not striking out that much to, wow, now it's an egregious amount of strikeouts.
Well, you look at, you've got a headline up here. I mean, I'm not saying you're guilty of something, but it says State of the Twins address. How concerning is a 3-4 start? It's 3-4. It would be really concerning if it was like the World Series because the season would be over. But it's not. Yeah. It's 7 games. It's. I don't think anybody can be happy with, generally speaking, how the Twins have played so far. But to draw any conclusions, as in this is how the season is going to conclude, is absolutely not appropriate. I think we're all, I know we love basketball. There's half as many games in basketball as there is in baseball. Football, it's about 10%. So, those sports, it's a little easier to get carried away, and understandably so. If the Vikings lose a game, if the Bears lose 12 games, it's a big deal. But 3-4, it doesn't mean nothing, but it doesn't mean a lot.
Yeah, we're 4.3% into the season. So if you were to play a 17-game season times 0.043, you'd be, a little over halftime of the first game of the season, I think, if I'm doing my math right, which I'm probably not. But it goes to show that, there's not that much.
I am definitely not sure about that math, but I'm going to go with it as an analogy anyway.
Well, I should say I'm not trying to say that it's concerning at all. I'm just saying, based on what I'm seeing, for whatever reason, Twins fans have already forgotten about how iffy the first half of last year was and how they needed to pick it up down the stretch.
Well, I mean, I guess I get it to a certain extent because I liked how they started the season, like the first game against the Royals. And I think the Royals have shown that they're a little better than last year. And I mean, that's a team that's coming off 56 wins, so they better be. There's nowhere to go but up, basically, unless you're the White Sox, I guess. But, right. I liked what the Twins showed on opening day. But, we can get – you made a good point about the strike zone or the strikeouts and how volatile, how quickly you can go from top of the heap, king of the hill on some stat, and, 2 or 3 games later, if that many, you all of a sudden there's a crisis. So, I guess we feed into it a little bit. We've got a show after pretty much every game, and there's got to be stuff to talk about and write about and whatever. But let's also pump the brakes a little.
Yeah. I have people in my mentions on Twitter saying, "Are you still saying it's only 6 games? It's only 7 games?" And I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Tomorrow it's going to be only 8 games. So
the weather,
deal with it.
Right? Maybe it'll still be 7 games.
Well, the weather hasn't been cooperating with the Dodgers lately. You should see they were like drowning at Wrigley Field. So I'm playing in a puddle. I hate this. I'm Miguel Rojas. I'm in a puddle. I'm sorry. It was bad. That was also bad umpiring. I'm making fun of Miguel Rojas, but not really.
Yeah, well, you just must be Jazz Chisholm then if you're not a big fan. I think Jazz hit a homer today. The Marlins finally won. So
Oh no, they didn't. Did they?
I think so. Yeah, I think they beat Kyle Gibson. But anyway,
Now that's an 0-8. Oh boy, well, that's a Gibson ain't what it used to be in St. Louis. Let's just put it like that.
yeah. Well, let's take a quick second and talk about our friends over at PrizePicks. We come back. I want to talk about Justin Morneau during the game. I want to talk about the Guardians on the road because their start on the road is impressive. And then a few other things, some news and notes in the division and all that sort of stuff. But again, first, a word from PrizePicks. PrizePicks is North America's largest daily fantasy sports platform. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS because it's just you against the numbers. You're not playing against other people trying to do all kinds of funny stuff with algorithms and mass entries and that sort of thing. It's just you picking more than or less than on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watching your winnings roll in. And you can be either risky, you can be risk averse. You have options. Demons and Goblins is one of those things. Demon picks are marked in red. They're a little scarier, but they get your heartbeat going because you can win big money, like 100 times your money. So put down $10, get back 1,000. If you have the right picks, it's the way to go. But if you're a bit more cautious, you can always choose a Goblin pick. It's marked in green because it's designed to keep you in the green, keep you rolling in the green, and allow you to land consistent victories. It's a lower payout, but it keeps your winning streak going. So it's a little give, a little get. But whatever you prefer, hey, we're here to tell you that it's the place to be. PrizePicks. If you're into the NBA, you can pick more than or less than on everything from 3-pointers to turnovers. And for baseball, you've got more than or less than on pitcher strikeouts, first inning runs. March Madness coming to a wrap on Monday. You could get one last bet in there too as well. Download the app today and enter code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that's LOCKEDONMLB. It's all one word. It's all lowercase. And you can get that first deposit match up to $100. Join PrizePicks today. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Dave, Justin Morneau had some pretty good things to say in Saturday's game. I don't know if or how many of them you caught, but I think my favorite one was, well, it gave me the opportunity to use the word kowtow, Kowtow. And
yeah, you can't kowtow to
kowtow, yeah, to a bad umpire.
to bet, yeah.
And it was more along the lines of, you learn the zone that this umpire gives you, and assuming it's even if it's bad but consistent, at least you can learn it. If it's moving around, which I kind of felt like Brennan Miller's was, that's a lot tougher. But he said one of the worst things you can do is to expand the zone because you're afraid of getting rung up, because you can hit what you can hit, you cannot hit what you can't hit, and you have to kind of stay within all of that, and the zone. So I thought Morneau made a handful of really good points about, in theory, the guys yelling from the stands are protect the plate, the strike zone's big, and it's like, yeah, but that doesn't mean you're going to hit a cutter that's 6 inches low or whatever for Matt Wallner, who had 2 horrible calls in the same plate appearance.
It's always interesting to me. I think about this sometimes, how much better it seems like most batters know what a strike is than whoever the umpire is behind home plate. You'd think the umpire would have a better view of it, but they're obviously, this is a biased person. This is a batter who thinks he knows and is rooting for himself and all that stuff. But just how right they are very often, at least according to that little box. So that's and you have to stand up for yourself. I mean, it's almost that simple. That if you don't, the umpire's going to think, well, I'm calling it fine, And I mean, there's a reason why people from the dugout, and you see this a lot in basketball, coaches will get on refs. It's to get calls. It's to put some doubt in the umpire's mind, or it's to you're fighting for your guys. So it's almost kind of that plain what Morneau said. I really like. I think that the Twins should do whatever they can to get Morneau in the booth every game. He's got his own life though, so maybe he doesn't want to do that. But I think he's coming along great as an announcer, and that was one of the very good points I thought that he made too.
Yeah, he went after the umpires more than I think I've ever heard, and he did. I don't know if somebody got in his ear and said, "Hey, tone it down" or what, but yeah, down the stretch he was a little less. But the data I saw wasn't it like 9 of the first 10 missed calls went against the Twins, and in all like 17 of 24. I don't remember. The number was egregious. Like it was one thing if I guess I don't know. I mean, they say one thing if you miss them evenly down the middle, but like that's still, there's leverage and all that stuff. Like I saw one umpire's game from I don't know if it was Friday or Saturday where it was like one missed call for the entire game behind the plate.
That's
And
the thing. That is the thing about, I know they don't like to or they say they don't. Managers and players say they don't like to complain about the umpires, and it's because it sounds like you're whining and you're excuse making. But I think one of the reasons is because umpires are capable of calling not perfect games, but pretty close. It is possible for umpires to get strike zones consistent and correct, and probably more consistent than even correct. We see it frequently. It happens. There are some umpires are good at it and some are not, and it's frustrating to get one that isn't. And you don't want to look like a whiny, complaining baby, but it's worse to go up there with an idea and a plan of attack and have it thwarted by inconsistent umpires. You kind of one can understand why the game is apparently headed toward robot assistance.
I think anytime you invite doubt into your mind as a hitter too, you're already more defeated than you already are, in the sense that it's a game of failure. And another poor umpire that we saw in all his glory on Sunday was Angel Hernandez, who I believe did he not call time for, is it Gleyber Torres? I can't remember for sure, but ended up being a lollipop.
2 or 3 things that went wrong on that play. That was one of them. I think the pitcher stepped off the rubber and then delivered the ball anyway. And I don't know.
Nobody was on base, so I don't know if there is a allowance for that. Whereas, it would be a balk if there was someone on, but you're not working on the windup with someone on. So I saw someone say, well, you can do that when there's nobody on. And I was like, I'm not, I'm obviously no expert. I struggle with balks sometimes.
That's not something you see a pitcher do a lot.
No.
So I don't agree. I don't necessarily agree with that.
If it's not a balk, it should be. You should not be able to deceive the batter like that.
Yeah, it is. Maybe it was an accident, but it was still a deception. And when the pitcher does that with his feet, the batter is no longer expecting a pitch. So it's
it was a lollipop breaking ball 3-4 inches high too. Like it was like Hernandez decided, no, I'm not giving you time, and I'm going to ring you up wherever this pitch is. And it was like, okay, dude, whatever.
I wish they would, if possible, work with the other umpires on that. If there was something about, maybe he didn't see everything, and maybe that's difficult for him to admit that he didn't see everything. Right. But that's not just an Angel Hernandez issue. That's a lot of umpires get like that. I had another point, but it's gone.
That's all good. Hey, also, people should remember that they can catch every pitch of the Twins' hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SiriusXM app. It's the SXM app, technically, and search the word Twins. Up next, it'll be Bailey Ober in the opener against James Paxton, who is returning to the scene of the crime from where he was accosted by a bald eagle at Target Field. So, first pitch, 6:40 p.m. at Target Field on Monday. But it's the Dodgers, and that's going to be a tough one. Let's do this. Let's take a quick second, pause for some love for Game Time. I want to ask you about Carlos Carrasco. Should have been a perfect opportunity for an offense to get right, and it wasn't. And then there's some injuries cropping up in this division that are making it interesting. But let's get a word in from Game Time. Our friends at Game Time want you to know if you're looking for tickets, they are the place to go. It's the Game Time app. If you're trying to get to a Twins game now that the home opener is gone and tickets have loosened up a little bit, you can still find the best deals at Game Time. You can find great spots, great seats, great values. Whatever you're looking for, they can help you. You got flash deals or zone deals where you pick an area and Game Time chooses the seats for you. If you toggle the all-in pricing, it'll show you the price up front. No surprise fees at checkout. You don't got to worry about that bait and switch at the end. And you can see your seat view. So you can get a panoramic view of what your seat will look like, what your view will look like from your seat before you buy it. And you get a lowest price guarantee. Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference if you find the same or similar tickets in the same section and aisle elsewhere for less. So again, 110% of the difference. Pretty hard to beat that too. And your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Also, you can get tickets up to the beginning of the event and even an hour into the event. So again, you can keep scouring even after first pitch if you want to get in there and catch, if a guy gets off to a good start in a game and you're nearby, Game Time is your place to go. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. For a limited time, all users can get $20 off any MLB purchase of $150 or more in the Game Time app with the code FIRSTPITCH. Terms apply. That's code FIRSTPITCH, FIRSTPITCH, for $20 off from March 25th to April 14th only. So you got about a week to get in on this offer. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, Dave, coming down the home stretch here. Yeah, I thought that Carlos Carrasco would have been an opportunity for the Twins offense to get right. Instead, it'll have to be someone from the Dodgers, whether it's, I think it's Paxton, Glasnow, and Miller for the 3 games. Obviously, Glasnow is going to be really, really tough, and Miller throws the crap out of the ball. So it's not going to be easy, but I thought Carrasco gave them a chance, a shot to turn things around, and they just did not have it.
Yeah, that's probably maybe the most disappointing thing about that game. Maybe it's a matter of getting under the lights. They've played nothing but day games so far. Monday will be their first night game. They'll see things a little bit differently. Maybe we can get some additional birds to attack James Paxton again, and that'll be on his mind from, I don't know if it was his previous visit to Target Field or not, but it's certainly, what's he going to remember about Target Field? It's going to be the time that the Eagle tried to kill him. So hopefully the Twins will have that going for him,
which is nice.
Yeah, we'll see if David Popkins can make it through an entire game without being kicked out because the umpire was all over the place with the strike zone. And hopefully, that shows the guys that he's behind them 100% and he's got their backs, and all they need now is for him to have their fronts. So they're swinging at pitches that are good. So,
you know what makes me crazy is fans who insist the manager has to show some fire and get thrown out. It's like, that's eyewash. Like, if you need someone to throw stuff on the field, you're an idiot. Again, you're just, it may get your competitive juices flowing a little more. I don't know. But the number of fans were like, oh, I'd love to see Rocco show some fire. Like, who cares? It's not a thing. And the other thing was like when they would say it about Joe Mauer back in the day, it was like, it would be very obviously not Joe Mauer to do that. Like, if you're doing it as performative, guys are gonna be like, what the hell is this? I think
Joe Mauer ever even like let oh gosh, mister, at like an umpire for missing a call? I don't even think he got that mad.
I hope your post-game milk is sour, he probably said.
Oh, wow. Them's fighting words from that family.
Especially if it's not Kemp's. But I
man knows his milk.
Yeah, I think it's eyewash, and a lot of fans just love that, sprint out of the box on a routine grounder to second. And
it does almost seem like when it does happen, the coaches, the managers, whatever, are doing it for those fans. It's like, all right, I'll get thrown out. I'll show you. I care. I mean, we know. People who know already know they care. Yeah. So it's not for us, it's for them.
So injury stuff in the division, Shane Bieber is going to have Tommy John. That is certainly a tough blow for the Guardians, not only because of what he means to that team, but how well he was pitching. I mean, he had started off the season quite well, and now it'll be, will they get Gavin Williams healthy? It's going to be Tanner Bybee, and if they get the version of Tristan McKenzie that everyone is kind of hoping for. I guess Twins fans, not necessarily. I think they're still going to be okay in their rotation, but I have seen some fans kind of hand waving like it's not that big of a loss, and I'm like, I can't get down with that.
Shane Bieber isn't that big of a loss. They're deluding themselves probably a little bit. And Bieber, McKenzie, I am concerned about. I like Tristan McKenzie a lot,
Yep.
He seems like a cool guy. He had shoulder and elbow issues last year, and that's why he got shut down. So I'm hoping that this is not a repeat of Bieber, who's also had those issues in the past and just kind of pushed himself to throw a little harder. And, people were remarking, I remember in spring training, hey, Bieber's throwing, 95 or whatever. And it's like great velocity. And it's just, the arm being what it was, it just apparently couldn't take it. So it seemed to me like Bieber's health was hanging by a thread anyway. And the Guardians were just kind of crossing their fingers that they could get him to the trading deadline again and see if they could move him. So I believe they probably would have last year had he been healthy at the time. So, hey, maybe the Guardians can keep scoring 6 runs a game or whatever it is, and their pitching won't be that important. But I kind of doubt it.
No, it's not going to happen. But they're still a solid team. I'm not trying to besmirch them for anything. Another elbow injury, Spencer Strider, elbow sprain. I have a bad feeling about this one. Again, I'm not a doctor. I only play one on TV, but I bet you didn't know that about me.
I was pretty sure you weren't a doctor. I'm not sure about you, like maybe what you are behind the scenes, but I wasn't expecting you to have gone to medical school.
I think that was a Doogie Howser, Neil Patrick Harris reference, wasn't it?
Not on purpose, but sometimes those are my best references. The ones.
No, I mean my reference, not yours. I'm trying to remember what mine was from. I think Neil Patrick Harris used to say, "I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV."
Did he?
I think so. Anyway,
I didn't watch that show.
We're losing the thread
here. 16-year-old doctor, get out of here.
Yeah, we're losing the thread here, though. I don't have a good feeling about Spencer Strider, and somebody put out it was like a top 10 Fangraphs list of fastball velocities from last year, and 8 of the 10 either have issues with their elbow right now or have had and are laid up. And then the healthy ones were, if I remember correctly, it was Jesus Luzardo and
Jesus Luzardo counts as healthy right now. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it was 2 of the top 10 velocity guys that were healthy, and Strider was on there. Bieber was not.
A couple of people whose opinions I value or trust on Twitter talking about where Strider came from in terms of interest before the draft, and Bieber, not first round pick guys who kind of work their way into elite territory by throwing harder than they used to, and just getting back to sort of the velocity trap of guys, maybe trying to throw a little too hard for what their arms can take. Mm-hmm. And, it wasn't terribly scientific what I saw, but I just thought it was interesting anecdotally that, Bieber and Strider were kind of considered, coming into their careers as not people to be reckoned with as much as, they outperformed their draft status basically.
Kind of like DeGrom too, right? I mean, he came out of Stetson. I don't think anybody was thinking he was going to be the next big thing either. Right. Hey, Luis Robert. I always want to call him Robert. It just sounds more fancy. But
I gave up on that. He said it's Robert, and Cuba's a little different, so we're going to go with it.
Yeah, nothing more needs to be said there. It sounds like he could miss multiple months with a grade 2 hip flexor strain. At this point,
similar to what happened to him in 2021,
they're going to lose
180 games.
They're going to lose 120 games.
What about 170? Is that possible?
Honestly, like the games that they face the A's are going to be cinema, and like cinema in the sense of like the Razzies will show up and do like an awards ceremony for worst cinema, because it's going to be ugly.
Well, hopefully people who don't like the White Sox can enjoy that. I don't think I'm going to have a good time watching that, but
No, sorry.
2 each
I'm
their
really
own.
sorry about that. Before we go here, one more injury update. Jake Odorizzi left his start on Sunday at AAA Durham, back in the Rays organization after 28 pitches, got 4 outs. And the one thing that I hate about that more than anything is that Jake is a good dude. He's just a really good dude. Everybody's time comes for them pitching wise. And I don't want to say that it's his. I'm just, you can kind of read the writing on the wall. He missed all of last year and he's possibly hurt again over the age of 30. So all these things kind of line up. So I'm hoping this isn't it for Jake Odorizzi, but if it is, hats off to him. I just really enjoyed covering him here in Minnesota, and I hope whatever this was, he can get past it and keep pitching, even though it won't be for the Twins. It would probably be for the Rays, but good dude. You never like to see it.
No, it's these pitchers are people too, in short, and it's not good when they're suffering and their careers aren't going the way that they want them to because of injury. It's sad on a human level, and I mean that in a non-snarky way.
Well, hey, we left a minute on the table here, so we'll make sure people get that minute back. No, I'm kidding. They're never going to get that minute back. But hey, Dave, thank you so much for staying up with me. Not like you had the choice, but this has been Locked on Twins. For Dave Brown, this is Brandon Warren signing off, saying thank you so very much, and we'll see you tomorrow night.